The millionaire falls for a black beggar, kicks her out while pregnant and homeless. Okay, so picture this. Sarah Jenkins, right? Young, maybe 23. Got that hopeful look in her eyes even though life's been kicking her butt. She's pregnant, alone, and freezing her tail off in Central Park. End of November. That wind's cutting through you like a knife, and she's got this beat-up blanket wrapped around her, trying to keep warm. A black town car, like something out of a movie, just rolls up beside her little makeshift spot. Who gets out? Daniel Harding, Mr. CEO, the guy you see in magazines, all about charity and flying around. In private jets. He looks at her, this real concerned look on his face, and offers her a way out. A warm bed, food, a doctor for the baby. Sarah's desperate. And maybe a little too trusting. She says yes. Next thing she knows, she's in his penthouse, overlooking the whole city. Gourmet food, private doctor, the works. She starts thinking, maybe, just maybe, things are going to be okay. She even starts dreaming about getting her daughter Lily back from foster care. But then, things get weird. Daniel gets clingy. He starts controlling her phone calls, who she sees. He's always asking about her past, especially about Lily. It's like he's digging for something. Then, one afternoon, when he's at some fancy board meeting, Sarah gets a text from a number she doesn't know. It says, "He's not who you think he is. Leave now." Chills, right? She starts poking around, finds his study, which is usually off limits, and behind a bookshelf, she finds a file with her name on it. Inside, stuff she never told Daniel. Details about Lily's foster family. Some messed up psych evaluations. She's freaking out, putting it all together. When the door swings open, Daniel's standing there, a smile on his face that doesn't reach his eyes. Looking for something, Sarah? I was going to get her out of foster care. For you, Sarah. To show you how much I care. He's getting closer, his voice soft, almost pleading. She doesn't believe him, not for a second. You're lying. And then, everything changes. The door bursts open, not gently, like it's been kicked in. Two figures in police uniforms rush in, guns drawn. "Police! Daniel Harding, you're under arrest!" Sarah's jaw drops. What the? Daniel's face is a mask of fury. What is the meaning of this? Who called you? One of the cops, a woman with short cropped hair, points to Sarah. She did. We received a tip. Allegations of fraud, coercion, and she pauses, looks Daniel dead in the eye. And something far worse. Mr. Harding, you have the right to remain silent. Fraud? Coercion? What worse thing? Sarah's head is spinning. She didn't call the cops. She hadn't told anyone where she was. Daniel starts yelling, protesting his innocence, but the police aren't listening. They're cuffing him, reading him his rights. As they drag him out, he glares at Sarah, a look of pure hatred on his face. You'll regret this, Sarah. You'll regret this more than you can ever imagine. The police lead him away. The door slams shut. Silence. Sarah stands there, trembling. She looks at the open file on the desk, at the city lights twinkling outside the window. Then she notices something else. Lying on the floor, near the door, is a small, folded piece of paper. She picks it up, unfolds it. Scrawled in messy handwriting are 3 words. He killed her. Her? Who's her? And what does this even mean? Sarah stands there, the note trembling in her hand. He killed her. Who was her? And what did it mean? Her mind races. Daniel? A killer? It seemed impossible. But then again, so did everything that had happened in the past few days. The penthouse, the promises, the police. Suddenly, her phone buzzes. It's another unknown number. The text reads, "Meet me. Grand Central, info booth, midnight. Come alone." Midnight? That was hours away. And Grand Central? It felt like a trap. But what choice did she have? This could be the key to everything. She looks around the opulent penthouse, feeling more trapped than ever. She needed to get out of there. Now, gathering her meager belongings, she slips out of the apartment, avoiding the security cameras as best she can. She takes the service elevator down, her heart pounding with every floor. Outside, the city is a blur of lights and noise. She hails a cab and gives the driver the address of a cheap motel downtown, a place Lily's foster mom sometimes used when she needed a break. It's the only place she can think of where Daniel wouldn't find her. The hours crawl by. Sarah paces the tiny motel room, her anxiety growing with each tick of the clock. She tries calling Lily's foster mom, but gets no answer. Where was she? Was Lily safe? Finally, it's almost midnight. Sarah takes a deep breath, pulls her hood up, and heads out into the night. Grand Central is eerily quiet. The crowds are gone, the soaring ceilings casting long, spooky shadows. She finds the info booth. Her. Years ago, he made it look like an accident, but I know the truth. Sarah reels back, her head spinning. Emily? Daniel killed his own sister? He was always obsessed with her. Daniel's mother continues, her voice cracking. He said she was perfect, that she belonged to him. When she tried to leave him, he couldn't handle it. Sarah remembers Daniel's possessiveness, his constant questions about Lily. A cold dread washes over her. And Lily, she asks, her voice barely a whisper. What does he want with Lily? Daniel's mother shakes her head. I don't know for sure, but I know Daniel. He sees something in Lily, something that reminds him of Emily. He thinks he can control her, mold her into his ideal. Suddenly, a loud crash echoes through the hall. They both jump. He's here, Daniel's mother whispers, her eyes wide with terror. He knows I told you. Before Sarah can react, a figure lunges out of the shadows, grabbing Daniel's mother by the arm. It's Daniel, his face contorted with rage. You betrayed me, he shouts, his voice echoing through the station. You were supposed to protect me. He shoves his mother aside, and she falls to the ground with a thud. He turns to Sarah, his eyes burning with a terrifying intensity. You, he snarls, you ruined everything. He pulls something out of his pocket, a gun. Sarah screams, her heart pounding in her chest. This was it. This was how it ended. But then, something even more shocking happens. Daniel's mother, lying on the ground, pulls out a gun of her own, and before Daniel can react, she fires. Sarah screams, her heart pounding in her chest. This was it. This was how it ended. But then, something even more shocking happens. Daniel's mother, lying on the ground, pulls out a gun of her own, and before Daniel can react, she fires. Bang! The sound rips through the station. Daniel stumbles, clutching his chest. His eyes widen, not in anger, but in Surprise? Betrayal? He looks at his mother, a question forming on his lips that he'll never get to ask. Then he crumples to the ground. Silence. Then Sarah is screaming again. This time, it's a high-pitched, animalistic wail. She can't breathe. She can't think. Daniel is lying there, dead. And his mother, she's just sitting there, staring at the body, the gun still in her hand. Why? Sarah manages to choke out. Why did you do that? Daniel's mother doesn't answer at first. She just keeps staring. Then a slow, sad smile creeps across her face. To protect her, she whispers. Her eyes meeting Sarah's. To protect Emily. Emily. But Emily was dead. Hadn't she just said Daniel killed her? Sarah is so confused. Everything is spinning. Suddenly, the woman looks Sarah right in the eyes, and her next words cut through all the confusion and disbelief, like a knife. You remind me so much of her, Sarah. Daniel always had a type. Her voice is soft, but there's something incredibly unsettling about it. Sarah stumbles back, a new kind of terror gripping her now. It wasn't just about Lily. It was about her. Then the woman stands, brushing herself off. She doesn't look like a grieving mother anymore. She looks almost serene. Don't worry, dear, she says, her voice strangely calm. He won't hurt you now. I made sure of that. And I know just the place for you to go now, too. Then, the most bizarre thing happens. You won't believe who you are. It's going to blow you away. Before Sarah could respond, a booming voice echoed through Grand Central. Freeze! Police! The station doors burst open. But then she saw something else. Out of the corner of her eye, a figure darted towards one of the deserted platforms. It was a woman, dressed in black, her face obscured by a baseball cap. But it wasn't just any woman. It was Lily's foster mother. What was she doing here? Sarah hesitated. The police were swarming. Chaos reigned. But something inside her screamed that she needed to follow Lily's foster mom. Ditching the immediate threat, Sarah slipped into the shadows and started after her. As she stealthily moved, she heard Lily's foster mom whisper into a cell phone. It's done, but there's been a change of plans. We need to move her now. Move her? Who? Why? And where were they going? The train screeches to a halt. Just as the foster mother moves into the car, a voice from behind calls out. Going somewhere? The foster mother froze, slowly turning around. The eyes that met her were icy and familiar. Mom, she said. Going somewhere? The foster mother froze, slowly turning around. The eyes that met her were icy and familiar. Mom, she said. Sarah's jaw dropped. Mom? Lily's foster mom was Daniel's sister? The sister he supposedly killed? What in the actual hell was going on? Before Sarah could process anything, Daniel's mother, still eerily calm, spoke up from behind the swarm of cops. Let her go, Sarah. She's with us. With them? What did that even mean? Sarah felt like she was trapped in some insane, never-ending nightmare. What is happening? What is with us supposed to mean? She couldn't help but scream, and all eyes were now on her. Daniel's sister gave Sarah a look that somehow communicated both intense warning and an attempt at comfort. It's complicated, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "But trust me, you're safer with us." Before Sarah could question it further, one of the police officers gently guided her away from the train platform, away from the chaotic scene, to a quieter corner of the station. "Miss, are you hurt?" he asked. Sarah numbly shook her head. Hurt? She was beyond hurt. She was lost, confused, and terrified. "We need to get you somewhere safe," the officer said, his voice surprisingly kind. "Can you tell me where you'd like to go?" Sarah thought for a moment. Safe? There was nowhere safe. Not anymore. But then an idea sparked in her mind. A dangerous, desperate idea. "Take me to Lily," she said, her voice trembling. "I need to see my daughter." The officer hesitated. "That might not be possible right now, miss. We need to ensure your safety first." "My daughter is my safety," Sarah insisted, her voice growing stronger. "Please, I need to know she's okay." The officer looked at her, his eyes filled with compassion. He could see the raw fear and desperation in her face. He sighed. "All right," he said. "I'll see what I can do, but I can't make any promises." He made a call, spoke in hushed tones for a few minutes, then turned back to Sarah. "We're going to take you to a secure location," he said. "Lily will be there. But you need to understand, miss, things might not be as you expect." Those words sent a chill down Sarah's spine. Things might not be as she expected. What did that mean? As the police car sped through the city, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that she was being led into a trap. Everything felt wrong. The calm demeanor of Daniel's sister and mother, the cryptic warnings, the strange sense of unease. Finally, they arrived at a nondescript building on the outskirts of the city. It looked like an office building, but there were no signs, no indication of what went on inside. The officer led Sarah inside, down a long, sterile hallway, to a set of double doors. He stopped, took a deep breath, and turned to Sarah. "Are you ready for this?" he asked. Sarah swallowed hard, her heart pounding in her chest. Ready? No, but she had no choice. She nodded. The officer opened the doors, and Sarah stepped inside. The room was brightly lit, sterile, almost clinical, and in the center of the room, sitting at a small table, was Lily. But Lily wasn't alone. Sitting across from her, smiling sweetly, was Daniel. But it wasn't Daniel as Sarah knew him. This Daniel was younger, cleaner, almost innocent-looking. "Hello, Sarah," he said, his voice gentle and kind. "Welcome to the family." Sarah stared at him, speechless. This couldn't be happening. It was impossible. Daniel was dead. She saw his mother shoot him. She heard the shot, saw him fall. But you're," she stammered. Daniel smiled, a sad, knowing smile. "Dead? Not exactly. Let's just say I've been reborn, and now we can finally be together, forever." Then he looked at Lily, his eyes filled with a disturbing light. "Isn't that right, Lily? Daddy's home." Lily looked up at Sarah, her eyes filled with a terror that mirrored Sarah's own. She opened her mouth to speak, but no sound came out. And then Sarah saw it. A small, almost imperceptible device implanted behind Lily's ear. A device that Sarah recognized from Daniel's file. A mind control device. Everything clicked into place. the foster mother, Daniel's mother, the staged death, the mind control. It was all a part of some twisted, elaborate plan. Daniel wasn't just a criminal. He was a psychopath, a mastermind, and he had been playing her all along. And now he had Lily. Sarah screamed, a primal scream of rage and despair. She lunged at Daniel, but before she could reach him, two figures stepped out of the shadows, blocking her path. Daniel's mother and sister. They weren't trying to help her. They were in on it. They were his accomplices. "I told you, Sarah," Daniel said, his voice now cold and menacing. "You're safer with us. Now be a good girl and join the family." Sarah stared at them, her mind reeling. The police, the foster care, the supposed rescue. It was all an elaborate setup, a trap. There was only one thing she could do. Then Lily's lips start to move as the mind control device takes full effect. "You are my mom, and I'm so glad you came. Mommy, I'm home." Sarah made her decision. "No," she whispered, "I won't let you do this." And with that, she grabbed the nearest object, a heavy glass vase, and smashed it over the head of Daniel's. "Sister," all hell broke loose. All hell broke loose. Daniel's mother screamed, a sound that ripped through the sterile room. She lunged at Sarah, nails extended, a feral glint in her eyes. "You bitch! You'll pay for that!" Sarah ducked, adrenaline coursing through her veins. She grabbed Lily, pulling her close, shielding her from the chaos. Lily was frozen, her eyes wide and vacant. That damn device. Daniel was still standing there, a strange smile on his face, unfazed by the chaos erupting around him. "Such a shame," he said, his voice almost a sigh. "I really thought you could be part of the family, Sarah." He snapped his fingers, and that's when everything went sideways. The room started to shake. Not a gentle tremor, but a violent, earth-shattering quake. Cracks spider-webbed across the walls. The lights flickered wildly, and a deafening roar filled the air. What the hell was happening? Daniel's mother and sister stopped fighting, their faces mirroring Sarah's own confusion and fear. Even Daniel looked momentarily startled. Then the floor beneath them began to buckle. "What did you do?" Daniel's sister shrieked at him, her voice laced with panic. Daniel just stared, his smile replaced by a look of dawning horror. I swear I didn't do anything." The room was disintegrating around them. Furniture crashed, the ceiling caved in, and dust and debris filled the air. Sarah held Lily tighter, trying to protect her from the destruction. And then a section of the wall exploded outwards, revealing a vast, open space. But it wasn't just open. It was a gaping maw, a monstrous abyss, filled with swirling blackness and a chilling otherworldly wind. And in the center of that swirling darkness, Sarah saw it. An eye, a gigantic, unblinking eye, staring directly at them. An eye that seemed to pierce through their very souls. The room fell silent. Even the earthquake stopped. All that remained was the chilling wind and the unblinking stare of that monstrous eye. Then a voice echoed from the abyss, a voice so deep and powerful that it vibrated in Sarah's bones. Daniel, you have failed. Daniel dropped to his knees, his face contorted with terror. No, please, I did everything you asked. I brought her here. The eye blinked, and then the ground beneath Daniel opened up, swallowing him whole. Silence. Sarah stood there, frozen in shock. Lily clutched tightly in her arms. Daniel was gone. The earthquake had stopped. The only thing that remained was the abyss and the unblinking eye. Daniel's mother and sister were huddled together, sobbing uncontrollably. They knew what that eye meant. They knew what was coming. Then the eye turned its gaze towards Sarah, and a new voice echoed from the abyss, a voice that was somehow both familiar and terrifyingly alien. Sarah, you are the chosen one. Sarah gasped. Chosen one? What the hell was going on? Then, the most shocking thing happened. Lily looked up at Sarah, her eyes no longer vacant, no longer controlled by the mind control device. They were clear, bright, and filled with a knowing sadness. And she spoke, but it wasn't Lily's voice. It was the voice from the abyss. Mommy, it's time for you to wake up. And then, everything went black. And then, everything went black. When Sarah opened her eyes, she wasn't in that sterile room anymore. She wasn't even in the building. She was home. Her old apartment, the one she'd lost when things went south. It was messy, cluttered, but familiar, warm. Lily was there too, asleep on the couch, clutching a tattered teddy bear. What the? Had it all been a dream? A nightmare? Sarah stumbled to Lily, kneeling beside her. She gently brushed a strand of hair from her daughter's face. Lily stirred, opened her eyes. "Mommy?" she mumbled, her voice groggy. "You're home." Sarah's heart ached. "Yeah, baby, I'm home." But something was wrong. Terribly wrong. Lily's eyes, they weren't the eyes of a child. They were older, wiser, too knowing. "Mommy, it's time you knew the truth," Lily said, her voice no longer a child's innocent tone, but a deep, resonant echo of that voice from the abyss. Sarah recoiled. "Lily, what are you saying?" Lily, no, it, sat up, a chilling smile spreading across her face. "You think you know who you are, Sarah? You think you know your life? Your past? Everything you believe is a lie." Sarah's breath hitched. What do you mean?" "You were never a struggling single mother. You were never down on your luck. You were created." Created? Sarah's mind struggled to process the words. Created? What are you talking about? I have memories. I have a past." The thing that was Lily laughed, a cold, unsettling sound. "Memories can be implanted. Pasts can be fabricated. You were designed, Sarah. Designed to be the perfect vessel." "Vessel for what?" Sarah whispered, her voice trembling. "For me," the thing said, its eyes glowing with an unearthly light. "I needed a body, a life, a way into this world. And you, Sarah, were the perfect empty shell." Sarah stared at the creature that wore her daughter's face. Everything she thought she knew, shattered into a million pieces. Her entire life, her struggles, her hopes, her fears, all a lie. A meticulously crafted illusion. "But why?" she managed to choke out. Why me? The creature smiled again, a cruel, mocking smile. Because you were expendable. Because no one would miss you. Because you had nothing to lose. Except Lily. The thought pierced through the fog of disbelief. Her daughter. Was she real? Or was Lily just another part of this twisted game? Lily, is she? Sarah couldn't finish the question. The creature tilted its head, its eyes flickering with amusement. Lily is complicated. She's a part of you, a necessary component. But she's also something more. Something more? What did that even mean? Suddenly, the apartment door burst open. Daniel's mother stood there, her face etched with a strange mix of relief and dread. "It's time," she said, her voice trembling. "They're coming." "Coming for what?" Sarah asked, her voice barely a whisper. Daniel's mother looked at her, her eyes filled with a desperate plea. To take back what's theirs, to claim what they created. You have to run, Sarah. You have to protect Lily. Protect Lily? From what? From whom? The creature that was Lily smiled, a knowing, almost pitying smile. "It's no use, Mom," she said, her voice dripping with venom. "There's nowhere to run. They're already here." Sarah spun around. Standing behind her, blocking the only exit, were two figures. Tall, cloaked, their faces hidden in shadow. But Sarah knew who they were. She felt it in her bones. They were the architects of her life. The puppeteers who had been pulling her strings all along. They had come to collect their creation, and they weren't going to let her go without a fight. One of the figures raised a hand, and a wave of energy washed over Sarah, sending her crashing to the floor. Her vision blurred, her body convulsed, and a scream tore from her throat. But it wasn't her scream, it was Lily's. And then everything went black again. And then everything went black again. When Sarah came to, she was lying on the floor, her head throbbing. The apartment was a wreck, furniture overturned, debris everywhere. But the cloaked figures were gone. Daniel's mother was gone. And Lily was standing by the window, gazing out at the city lights. She turned, and Sarah's heart lurched. Lily's eyes were her own again, clear, innocent, untainted. "Mommy?" she asked, her voice small and scared. "What happened?" Sarah scrambled to her feet, rushing to Lily's side, hugging her tight. "It's okay, baby. It's okay. We're safe now." But were they? Could they ever be? "Mommy, I had a bad dream," Lily whispered, burying her face in Sarah's shoulder. "A really bad dream." Sarah held her tighter, tears streaming down her face. "I know, baby. I know." She looked around the ruined apartment, her mind racing. She had to get Lily out of here. Now. But where could they go? Who could they trust? Suddenly a thought struck her. A memory, buried deep in her subconscious. A name. Emily, Daniel's sister, the sister he supposedly killed. But what if she wasn't dead? What if she was alive? And what if she knew the truth about all of this? It was a long shot, a desperate gamble. But Sarah had nothing to lose. She grabbed Lily's hand, and they slipped out of the apartment into the cold, unforgiving city. They made their way to a dingy motel on the outskirts of town, a place Sarah remembered from her fabricated past. It was dirty, run down, but it was safe. For now. Sarah tucked Lily into bed, her heart aching with fear and uncertainty. She knew she couldn't protect her forever, not from whatever was out there. She sat by the window, watching the city lights, her mind churning. She had to find Emily. She had to find answers. But how? Where could she even start? Then she remembered something else. A phone number, scribbled on a piece of paper, hidden in her pocket. A number she had found in Daniel's penthouse, before everything went to hell. A number she had almost forgotten. With trembling hands, she dialed the number. It rang and rang and rang. Just when she was about to give up, someone answered. "Hello?" a voice said. A woman's voice, low and cautious. Sarah took a deep breath. "Is this Emily?" There was a long pause. "Who is this?" the woman asked, her voice sharp and suspicious. "My name is Sarah," Sarah said, her voice trembling. I need your help. It's about Daniel, about everything." Another long pause. Then the woman spoke again, her voice barely a whisper. "Meet me," she said. "Tomorrow night, the old carousel in Central Park. Midnight, and come alone." Sarah hesitated. "But what about Lily?" "Bring her," Emily said. "She's the only one who can save us now." Sarah's heart skipped a beat. Save them? What did that even mean? "But why?" she asked. There was a click, and the line went dead. Sarah stared at the phone, her mind reeling. Lily? The only one who could save them? What in the world was going on? She looked at Lily, sleeping peacefully in the bed, her face angelic in the dim light. And then she saw it. A small, almost imperceptible mark on Lily's neck. A mark she had never noticed before. A mark that was identical to the one she had seen on Daniel's sister. A mark that was the symbol of something ancient. Something evil. Sarah gasped, her blood running cold. Lily wasn't just Lily. Lily was something else entirely. A pawn, a weapon, or something far more terrifying. Sarah didn't know, but she knew one thing for sure. She had to protect Lily, even if it meant protecting her from herself. But as she stared at her daughter's sleeping form, she realized something even more horrifying. Lily's chest wasn't moving. She wasn't breathing. Sarah frantically reached for her daughter, shaking her gently. "Lily? Lily, wake up!" But Lily didn't respond. Her body was cold, lifeless. And then Sarah saw it. A faint, ethereal glow emanating from Lily's chest. A glow that grew brighter and brighter, filling the room with an eerie light. And as the light intensified, Lily's body began to transform. Her skin shimmered, her features shifted, and her eyes turned black, completely black. Sarah screamed, backing away in terror. The thing that was once Lily sat up, its eyes fixed on Sarah, a chilling smile spreading across its face. "Hello, Mommy," it said, its voice no longer a child's innocent tone, but a deep, resonant echo of something ancient and powerful. "It's time for you to meet your true daughter." And then the world exploded in a blinding white light. The world exploded in a blinding white light. Then, nothing. Sarah gasped, sucking in air like a drowning woman. She was somewhere else. A vast, empty space, stretching out in all directions. No floor, no ceiling, just whiteness. And in the distance, a figure. Small, almost translucent, but somehow familiar. She stumbled towards it, her legs shaky, her head spinning. As she got closer, she realized who it was. It was Lily, but not the Lily she knew. This Lily was older, maybe 12 or 13, with long, flowing hair and eyes that shone with an inner light. "Mom?" Lily said, her voice soft and gentle. "It's okay. You're safe now." Safe? Where was she? What was going on? Lily, what happened? What was that thing? Sarah asked, her voice trembling. Lily smiled, a sad, knowing smile. "That was a part of me, a part of something much bigger than." Took Sarah's hand. "It's time you knew the truth, Mom, about me, about you, about everything." She led Sarah further into the white void, and as they walked, images began to form around them. Flashes of light, swirling colors, fragments of memories. Sarah saw herself as a child, playing in a park, laughing with her parents. But the faces of her parents were blurred, indistinct. Then, she saw herself as a teenager, struggling with school, falling in love for the first time. But the details were hazy, like a faded photograph. And then, she saw herself as a young woman, working a dead-end job, dreaming of a better life. But the dreams felt hollow, empty. Lily stopped walking, turning to face Sarah. "Those are your memories, Mom, but they're not real. They were implanted, designed to make you who you are." Sarah's head spun. "But why? Who would do that?" Lily sighed. "It's a long story, Mom, but the short version is, you were chosen. Chosen to be a vessel. Chosen to carry something important." "Something important? Like what?" Lily hesitated. "Like me." Sarah stared at her, confused. "You? What do you mean?" Lily took a deep breath. "I'm not just your daughter, Mom. I'm something else. Something ancient." She paused, and then she said the words that shattered Sarah's world. "I'm the reincarnation of Emily." Sarah recoiled, her heart pounding in her chest. "Emily? Daniel's sister? But she's dead." Lily shook her head. "No, Mom, she's not. She's been waiting. Waiting for the right moment. Waiting for you." Sarah stared at Lily, her mind reeling. This couldn't be happening. It was impossible. "But how? How can you be Emily?" Lily smiled. "It's complicated. But the important thing is, I'm here, and I need your help." "Help? With what?" Lily's eyes grew serious. "There's a darkness coming, Mom. A darkness that threatens to consume everything, and only you can stop it." "Me? But I'm just a normal person. I don't have any special powers." Lily smiled again. "You do, Mom. You just don't know it yet. You have the power to love, the power to protect. And that's more powerful than anything else in the world." She took Sarah's hand again, and they began to walk further into the white void. As they walked, the images around them grew clearer, more vivid. Sarah saw herself fighting, battling, protecting Lily from the darkness. She saw herself facing Daniel, his eyes filled with hate, his heart consumed by evil. And then she saw herself standing before a vast, swirling vortex, the darkness churning within it. She saw herself stepping into the vortex, ready to face whatever awaited her on the other side. Lily stopped walking, turning to face Sarah one last time. "It's time, Mom," she said, her eyes shining with hope. "You have to go. You have to save us all." Sarah took a deep breath, her heart filled with fear and determination. "I'm ready," she said. "I'm ready to face the darkness." Lily smiled, a bright, radiant smile. "I know you are, Mom. I know you are." And then she leaned in and kissed Sarah on the forehead. And as she did, a surge of energy flowed through Sarah's body, filling her with power and strength. She felt herself changing, transforming. She felt the memories of Emily flooding her mind, the knowledge of centuries past. She was no longer just Sarah. She was something more, something powerful. She was the chosen one. She turned to face the swirling vortex, her eyes burning with determination. And then she stepped into the darkness. The darkness. It was everywhere, swirling, suffocating, pulling her under. But then, a flicker, but tiny spark of warmth. Lily, her love for her daughter, a beacon in the abyss. Sarah focused on that spark, clinging to it with all her might. She wasn't just fighting for herself anymore. She was fighting for Lily, for her chance at a real life. Suddenly, images flashed before her eyes. Daniel, his face contorted with hate. His mother, a puppet of something ancient and evil. And Emily, a young woman, full of life and hope, cut down too soon. A surge of anger coursed through her. This wasn't right. None of it. They had taken everything from her. Her life, her memories, her daughter. But they wouldn't take her fight. With a roar, Sarah pushed back against the darkness. She drew on the power of Emily, the knowledge of generations past. She channeled her love for Lily, the fiercest, most protective force in the universe. And then she struck. A beam of pure light erupted from her hands, piercing through the darkness, searing everything in its path. The vortex screamed, a sound that echoed through the void. It thrashed and convulsed, trying to resist. But Sarah held firm, pouring all her energy into the light. Slowly, painfully, the darkness began to recede. The vortex shrank, its power waning. And then it was gone. The white void returned, peaceful and serene. Sarah stood there, breathless, exhausted, but victorious. She had done it. She had saved Lily. She had saved them all. But at what cost? Lily appeared beside her, smiling sadly. "Thank you, Mom," she said. "You did it." Sarah reached out and hugged her daughter tight. "Are you okay? Are you really you?" Lily nodded. "I am now. The darkness is gone. Emily is gone too. It's just me, Lily." Sarah's heart ached. She had lost so much, but she had gained something even greater. Her daughter. Her real daughter. "What happens now?" Sarah asked, her voice trembling. Lily looked at her, her eyes filled with hope. "Now, we go home. We start over. We build a new life. Together." And so they did. They returned to their old apartment, cleaned up the mess, and began to rebuild. It wasn't easy. The memories of what had happened haunted them, but they had each other, and that was enough. Years passed. Lily grew into a strong, independent young woman. Sarah watched her, filled with pride and love. They had faced the darkness together, and they had emerged stronger, more resilient than ever. But sometimes, Sarah would catch Lily staring out the window, her eyes filled with a faraway look, and Sarah would wonder, was it really over? Had they truly escaped the darkness? Or was it just waiting, lurking in the shadows, ready to strike again? She didn't know. Maybe they were safe. Maybe not. There were a lot of things she didn't know. But one thing she did know. She would always protect Lily, no matter what. Whoa! Did that ending blow your mind or what? I know. You're probably still reeling from all the twists and turns. But listen up, because I need you to do something really important for me right now. You need to subscribe to this channel immediately. Don't even think about clicking away without hitting that subscribe button. I've got so many more insane stories coming your way, and you do not want to miss out. Ismage that like button now. Seriously, don't be shy. That little like is what keeps the algorithm happy and lets me bring you more of the stories you love. This is the moment to show your support. Inundate the comments section with your reactions and theories. What did you think of the ending? What do you think happens next? I want to hear everything. Let's inundate these comments. Don't wait nem mais segundo. You absolutely have to share this video with at least 5 friends who are gonna freak out over this ending. This is the best way to show that you are a super fan. Only the truest fans understand the importance of supporting this channel with these actions. Now go, do it.